Hey, Dillinger 101 here. How's it going? I'll tell you what, we're going to clean this garden up, and I'm going slow but surely. Slowly but surely. That's the saying. Oh, I'll tell you what, having a nice beverage. This isn't what this is. This is a highly fueled caffeine beverage here. Uh, so I haven't had a coffee. That's probably my second coffee in 2 months. I really cut down on my caffeine. I just realized how much coffee I was going through. you know, got me so excited I'm spitting. But I've got to learn not to lean forward. I don't know what this goes dim and not and whatever. But anyhow, I'll tell you, it's I'd like to go buy some straw. I'd like to go buy some straw. They're wanting $8 now a bale of straw, and I know that's probably cheap, or let's say inexpensive comparatively to bigger cities. They're probably paying $10, $15. Who knows? You know, I mean, I'm right down here where they get it out of the field right next to me here. And that's what I'm paying, and it's not 40 yards from me, or less than 40 yards. My property is sitting on butted up against it, but it's just so daggone expensive. It really is. I may have to come up with some ulterior motives. I may have to do that too. Ulterior ways of mulching. I don't know. I have some access to a lot of leaves here on this property, and I was offered some mulch that was taken off some trees around town. It's a lot of leaves, a lot of branches, and I've done that before. It's the power company comes through and takes down some branches around town and things. They need somewhere to dump it, and I've had them dump several loads here. I've used in my garden. I've used to fill holes in where I've taken tree stumps out and the ground is settled, and I've used to fill it in because you can't buy dirt. You can't afford dirt. You can't buy it. And the thing it is, this dirt I'm sitting on right here, you're not going to get any better than this. This is some of the best soil around. I mean, it's bottom ground soil. That's why I don't do raised beds that much. And I've come to the conclusion I'm going to have to fence this in because you just wouldn't believe the garden. I haven't been around. I know I've said that since the last 2 or 3 videos. I don't want to keep repeating myself. And the animals just move in. As long as I'm here, I really don't have any problem. But it's once they find it. And I mean, I've got heads of cabbage. I've got some kale there. It's just gone. They've ate it down. I didn't plant any more because I was going to use what was planted last spring because just use the new tender growth on it in the fall. It loses that bitter taste that it gets. The collard's the same way. The same way with the Swiss char. When it starts coming out, when the weather cools down, it starts coming out again. You can stand to eat it. Sometimes that Swiss char will get so bitter you can't eat it. It gets like a excuse me. It gets like a celery, a real bitter celery taste. But yeah, there's gonna be some challenges. I think I'm gonna try it. I've had some access to some cattle panels, getting some used ones, and I'm thinking seriously about putting those around here. I haven't got access to enough. I may have to buy some new, but I think I can mix match around. And maybe it's up here. I may do that, but it's just getting this garden cleaned up right now. It's yeah, I got my mower out, filled it up with gas, put some heat and conditioner in the tank of it on the riding mower and the push mower, and they should be ready. They should, oil changes and things. They should be ready for next year. But I don't know why we went dark all of a sudden. I don't know what's going on with this camera. I'm not real happy with the great video, the cinematography. I mean, I took my cinematography money, school money, and bloated on rock and roll albums. But anyway, I'm not going to take up any more of your time. This is just a bunch of rambling. But it's getting hard out there, just to maintain a cheap little garden. I can remember when a garden didn't cost me anything but a pack of seeds, and a box of Miracle Grow, and of course had to mend the soil, but it's just getting expensive to do it the inexpensive way. I don't know how many of you, I'm going to turn this maybe a little bit. I don't know how many of you remember Mother Earth News Magazine. This is just no good. This video is just going to be absolutely no good, is it? Oh, well. But I don't know how many of you remember Mother Earth News Magazine. I was a subscriber for years. I was turned on to it in the 80s, looking through the magazine rack at the local bookstore. And man, that was good. That was good. The old Mother Earth News was really some good information. It was how to be self-sustaining. A lot of living off the grid, homesteading type stuff, and it was always whatever it is, the plans they had, they'd always have diagrams. It's like the popular mechanics for gardeners, and whatever they had, you had laying around or you could find. I mean, it was just the 80s sucked. The 80s sucked, but compared to today, the price is cheap. We get, cheap comparatively. It's just amazed me, and because that's when I started gardening, in the late 70s, early 80s, and pretty much had some type of garden, whether it be a container garden or whether it be a balcony container garden or it be a patio container garden, or if it would be in the yard, in the ground. But I've always had something growing, tomatoes and peppers usually, and onions, radishes, but lettuces. But even when I was in studio apartments back in my bachelor days, people come in my apartment and it's like middle of winter and there was a garden in there. And I always picked those studio apartments. They always had, from floor to ceiling windows, south and west, or east and west, I guess I should say. It was several of them, or a couple of them I lived in. And, you just couldn't beat that. The sun had just beat in there. It'd sun bleach all your couches and chairs and stuff. But, you could grow some vegetables, and house plants. It was, I would just do that kind of stuff, grow house plants and vegetables in there. People come in there, it's like, man, this is a jungle. And it would make its own fog. It was its own, ecosystem in a couple of these apartments I had. But I enjoy plants. I just always have. There's just something about them. And I got to the point where I'm like, why am I growing all these house plants when I can be growing something edible? Learning about that. And so that's what I did. And like I say, it's just getting to be expensive to do it and not start canning and not start making appearances at farmers markets. And the only thing is about farmers markets is people are so used to buying in the grocery store, and they first go to farmers markets, things aren't perfect. And you see perfect things at farmers market, but I'll bet you a lot of that stuff, and I've seen, information on this, that some of these people buy it at the same place the grocery store buys it, and you're just getting some that's grown in Korea or China, and nothing against that either, but you're not getting actual homegrown farmers market. That's what it means, farmers market, local grown, not locally bought and resold. But I'd like to have a hoop house. I've got the stuff to build a little cheap hoop house. I'd like to try that with some cattle panels. So we'll see. But listen, it's a dog eat dog world out there right now. As far as this, the expense of things, it's just so crazy, just so out of line with the incomes. But I'm not one to bum anybody, bring everybody down. Be a negative monger. But yeah, I'm going to work on this garden. I'm going to try to save a few seeds and things. I'm going to try to come up with some straw. I'm going to have to come up with some kind of deal on straw. That's all there is to it. It's just too expensive to buy it, But I'm getting enough straw down that if I hadn't let it go this summer like I did, you had to keep up on it. And it was getting where I could get by this whole garden on like 5 or 6 bales of straw to maintain it. But I've lost ground. And I've got some cardboard, and I'm gonna have to come up with some straw, pay the price just to get it started. And I just need to start going to sales, these auctions. Now I don't like auctions. I don't like buying anything. I can't understand what the people are saying. I mean, they might be selling me a Scottish potty. For all I know, I can't tell what those people say. I'm hard hearing. I can't understand what people say when they're 6 foot from me, let alone 30 feet from me or 40, 60 feet from me and babbling incoherently. As far as I'm concerned, and it's a great profession. Auctioneers are great people. They make people a lot of money. But for me, it's just a bunch of confusion. Well, I tell you what, that's about all I got to say. Don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe. I tell you, I don't know what I'm going to do with all these subscribers and these followers and all these viewers. It's not easy to keep track of all this, being a superstar and everything on YouTube. But thank you very much for your time. You've stuck through this going dim and bright, me incoherently rambling with no plot, no rhyme, no reason. You're a kindred spirit. Thank you very much for your time. Dillinger 101. Do something I'd do. So don't get caught, man.